Hello, my sewing friends. I wanted to repeat my tour of my sewing room for you because I did it and there was a problem with the video. So this may be a repeat for most of you about stuff you just could care less about, and that's totally fine. I just didn't want to delete the first video because your comments are so just precious to me. You know, all of you are always so encouraging and so kind, and that just, I really appreciate that. I love interacting with you in comments, and I don't want to lose those, and if I delete the video, then I will. So anyway, because there was a problem with the video freezing and getting pixelated in part of it, I just thought I'll just do it all over again, especially because I went back to the footage and I can't fix it. So anyway, this is the sewing room tour, take 2. So we're walking in, and one of the first things that I really wanted to address was lighting. So these are recessed lights. I said before, and I'll say it again, I think you can see this room from space when you come in because these are so bright. I do have 6 of them, and they are the really slimline, really shallow. In that you don't have to drill a hole and connect them in a very elaborate way. My neighbor Eric installed them, and I love them because when I come in here I need a lot of light when I work. That's what we need when we sew. So moving to my left, we have my ironing board. This is a board that I found at Goodwill. I thrifted it. It was very inexpensive. There's a jug of water down there to refill my irons, and this is just a basket with all my pressing tools, things like my hams and some scissors and all kinds of things like stitch witchery, fusible webbing, and some other kinds of tapes, a seam ripper, extra scissors. This is spray starch that I just made up with cornstarch and water. I have an old Sunbeam iron that I'm back to using because I am not happy with my Aliso. Even though it's a very fancy iron, I'm just not happy with it. Extra pins in a little pottery tray that was made for me by Emma years and years ago. Again, extra scissors, seam gauge, all the things that you need when you press. I gotta say that the thing I love about this ironing board is that little shelf, and also this, which is a cord keeper, and it keeps the cord up out of the way when I go to press things, which is really great because that cord can drag and wrinkle your fabric as you're trying to press things. So I really like that, and it does fold up and down, so if you don't want to use it, you can fold it down. This is my pegboard. This came from Habitat for Humanity. It was this size when I got it, and I love how big it is. I just painted it white, nothing fancy, just used leftover paint that I had. The hooks here hold all my spools of serger thread, and I got those, I think, at Amazon. And then I've had this thread rack for forever. This one I just got for overflow, and it came from Hobby Lobby, and it was on sale when their notions were on sale, so I got it for half off, I think. And then I just have the little, the clock that I bought when I was in England last year. Scissors all over the place. My parents bought a farm which was previously owned by hoarders, and they had so many scissors, so they gave them all to me, and a lot of them are vintage. It's really nice to have them. And then tape measures, and this came from IKEA, as did the shelf here. And I've got little notion-y kind of things in all of these little mugs, and this I've also had for forever. I can't remember where I got it, probably Joann's Readers. Whoops, that's upside down. It's a little Snickers bar, and there we go. This is a pin cushion actually, and then I've got my Raiders license plate cover, which my kids got me a while ago. This is just a flower planter that I got at IKEA that holds various and sundry little catch-all things. I have extra glasses, and this was made for me by my daughter Jenna. It was one of the first things that she ever made. So moving on, to my right is a mirror, which is great because if I go this way, I have room to stand in front of the mirror when I try things on. And then these are my bookshelves. Now these bookshelves were not expensive. They came from Costco years ago. And they look much fancier than they actually are, but I love them. And I have extra rulers, projects in process, and then this is my Singer 99. And these are all my books that I have read and loved, or listened to and loved, and they're all signed by the authors, mostly. As you head that way, they're things that I've had for years, and then I collect children's books, and so those are all down here. Over this way is one of my dress forms, and that is a work in progress that I'll tell you about in a minute. This is one of those IKEA carts, except that this one I think came from Michael's. I got it on Black Friday for a steal of a deal, and it contains all the things that I need next to me when I sew. Things like bobbins, Scotch tape, marking tools, more marking tools, double-sided tape, more marking tools, seam rippers. I have, I don't know, 2 or 3 of those, and then this little thing holds paper scissors and seam gauges and screwdrivers to get in and fiddle around with my machines, and tweezers. And then this little drawer has extra machine needles. So, you know, the all-important chapstick, lip gloss, you know, that kind of thing, baby lips. This is something I will show you in a future video, but it's just a box cutter. And so then down here I have the all-important tissues, and then I have a little magnetic bowl here that has all my clips in it, and my new labels, my old labels, old sewing machine feet to old machines that I no longer even have, actually. Some I do. This is a hem marker that goes with my other dress form, and then down here we have the little box that the clips came in, and just, you know, it's just a catch-all, but it is contained within little containers. Like that one came, that's a three section container that came from Dollar Tree, and you know, I collect little containers, actually. It's kind of a habit. And then this is the table that holds my machines. Now, I just swapped this out. I had a 6-foot table, and I swapped it out for the, I think this is a 4-foot table. And I did that because I want to replace this table. These kinds of tables are the ones you can buy at Walmart, Target, Sam's Club, Costco, any number of places, but they shake when you use a serger, especially. And so I don't like that. I have gone back to using my FAF 7570. This is an older machine that I've owned for years, since the 90s. And I've done that because it's wonderful. It's such a workhorse, and it does have the walking foot, which you can see right there. I love that. And some of the newer machines, the high-end machines, have that. This was a high-end machine back in the day. It is no longer, but I really like it. Extra pins, and this is magnetic. It has just magnets that I've glued to the bottom. Extra pins over here, a little catch-all kind of mug, which I have turned the wrong way. And you know, this is just extra stuff that you have laying by your machines so that you have them quickly to hand. This is my brother's serger, and it's the, let's see, 3rd or 4th serger I've owned. And I like it. It's just a little workhorse, and it really gets the job done, and I like that. This work in progress over here, it is McCall's 7948 with some changes. So that is coming up in a makes video when I finally get it done, quit fiddling with it. This is my other dress form, along with artwork done by Emma. She's my artist, and it sits beside a rolling cart with little drawers in it. On top is a wicker basket with some of my pattern fitting things, and then this is just patterns that I want to get to or that I need to file in the future. And back behind is more fitting stuff and just pads of paper. There's a ruler there, you know, kind of a catch-all place. And this is just full of more design tools really than anything else. That's all kinds of things. Rings, snaps, things used to make other things. Pencils, more pencils and graph paper. These are things that were left over from when I was in design school, that kind of thing. And rulers, just, you know, various and sundry things. This is all embroidery thread and glue and things that make things stick to other things. This is just tracing paper and balloons. I don't know why that's in there. And this is just files of things that, ideas, just ideas. This is my Singer, which the thread cutter has quit, and I've had it apart twice, and it's just starting to really irritate me. So it's going to need to be taken in for service, which is why it's over here. This is overflow fabric and overflow patterns that are in these cloth collapsible bins, and these came from Walmart, as did all of the shelves. These are just shelves I've had for years. They're made by Closet Made, and you can find them at Target, Walmart, other big box kinds of stores like Meijer, if you have one around you, those kinds of stores. And those stores also make their own brand of these. So these are just 3 feet across, and this is 12 inches by 12 inches. So that makes it easy if you are measuring and want to put them somewhere. So I have extra thread. This is my Singer Featherweight that was given to me by my in-laws. These are design books, kind of. There are a couple in there by Joanna Gaines and one by Clint Harp, who was her woodworker on their show. Christmas card box that I really have always liked. These are all sewing books. I don't have that many. I wish I had more fitting books, and I'm working on that. These are all my machine manuals. I have 4 of these IKEA bins, which all have lace and zips and bias tape and trims and elastics, and they're just, you know, kind of organized, kind of not, you know. Some of them are, like this one's a complete mess. These are little pin cushions, and they also have a little tape measure on them. So where does that one? I think that one, yeah. See how that pulls out? Isn't that cool? They're all like that. This is a beehive and a little flower pot, and so very cute. These are all patterns that have to be filed, and they're mostly Laura Ashley, and this also has buttons underneath. These have buttons. I have a lot more buttons, but they're in the other room. I didn't move them yet. These are all books that I have loved and read and listened to, and then on the bottom from here on the bottom row are books I haven't read yet. Let's see. And if you want to know about any of these books, then by all means, give me a comment down below and ask me, and I will tell you about them. The all-important Frappuccino. I haven't had one of those in a long time, and I grabbed one today. My globe, this is just a little set of bookshelves that I didn't know what I was going to do with, and so I put my pattern notebooks there. Those are pattern notebook or patterns that need to go in the notebooks, and they need to be just filed away with the envelopes down there on the bottom, right there, and then more vintage patterns right there that I want to frame. This contains my Threads magazines. You know, I had a collection years ago and I got rid of it. Can't believe I did that. But this is a couple of patterns that I want to get rid of, and then just tracing paper there. And we are back to the doorway. Now, here's my table. I've talked about my table before, but it is 4 bookcases put together. These are, 2 of them are fabric, 2 are patterns, and I used them to make the table. The table, it was a closet door that I found at Habitat for Humanity, and I cut it down to just 5 feet. These are all on wheels, which you can see right there. I did add some particle board on the bottoms because you can't attach wheels directly to the shelves because the screws are too long, and so you have to add something there. But this I covered in cork and then put some trim around the edges and just painted it. It's very rough. Don't look at it too closely because I'm not a woodworker. But the cork I finished, and I wanted it smooth so that I could both pin into it in that, and then also I didn't want fabrics to kind of slide over it and catch. So this is a yardstick that came from the bank in the town where I grew up. This is just a cutting mat that I got at Hobby Lobby when things were half off. Notions were half off. That's an Olipfo ruler, which is so helpful because it's got this ledge on the end. You can kind of see. And it catches the edge of the cutting mat so that you stay straight when you cut things. Over here I've got my Sofro House of Fabrics yardstick, and it's metric on one side, so I went ahead and attached it over here because it's nice to have both imperial and metric. Extra pins, pattern weights. I have other things I use for pattern weights, but I just keep those right there because it's handy. My cutting scissors, and once again fabric, which is wrapped onto pieces of cardboard and foamcore. This is patterns, extra patterns, and then I will give you links to all of the things down in the description box. And the final thing is my piece of stained glass that I got at an auction, where I also got a bunch of quilting rulers, and those are helpful too. So that is the amazing sewing room space that I have now. And I've said before, you know, I am so fortunate to be able to have a space like this where I can actually get in there and close the door and be in my own little world creating. It is a wonderful thing, and especially since I haven't always had that. You know, I started out like everybody else did with a sewing machine on a kitchen table, and you got to get it out and put it away, and you know, we sew where we can. And as you get older and your kids all leave home and you're in your house and all of a sudden you have a room that you can give over to it, which, you know, again, not everybody has that, but I'm fortunate and I know it. And I can't tell you how many times my husband and I have looked at each other in our lives and said, you know, it just doesn't get any better than this, does it? I haven't said that one time. I've said that so many times. God is good. God is very good to me. I hope he's good to you too. So anyway, that's the sewing room. I hope you enjoyed all over again. And that's it for now for me. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.